Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you'll never miss a new episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the I Love Dentistry Office Hours with Gary Takis. Gary, hope you're enjoying. We just changed the clock last Sunday, so we get an extra hour. So
Yeah.
That's nice. Hope you're enjoying. I guess, is it getting colder in Phoenix? It's getting clear here.
It's beautiful right now in Phoenix. This is why we live here. Some of our listeners or some of our I Love Dentistry audience may know that Arizona never changes their clocks.
Yes.
Our entire state never changes its clock, and there's part of Indiana, the western part of Indiana, that doesn't change their time, and so we're the oddballs out. But we didn't get the extra hour this time.
So I call it Maverick. So you guys are the Mavericks.
We're the rebels.
You're the rebels.
Yeah.
Anyway, so today's topic is a very good topic. And I want you to introduce it because I know Dr. Pankey taught you a lot of things. And there's four things Dr. Pankey said you must know. So I'm really looking forward to this particular topic, Gary.
Yeah, four things that Dr. Pankey said every dentist should know. I had the privilege of meeting Dr. Pankey very early in my career. And he was a legendary figure in dentistry. Many people consider Dr. Pankey to be the father of modern day restorative dentistry. That he's the one that really pushed the envelope on restorative dentistry, because when Dr. Pankey started his career, he was born in 1901 and he passed away in 1989 at the age of 89 years old. But when he started practicing dentistry in 1923, dentistry was largely an act of removing teeth. What dentists did in 1923 was they took teeth out and they extracted teeth, and that's what they did. And Dr. Pankey wanted to change that, and he made a commitment early in his career that he would never again extract a tooth that could be saved. If it could be saved, he wasn't going to extract it. Now, if it couldn't be saved, then he was comfortable with the idea of extracting that tooth, that there was no way the tooth could be saved. But he committed his life to advancing the art and science of restorative dentistry. And so the four things that Dr. Pankey said every dentist should know, let me walk through them. We'll go over them in a little bit more detail. Number one, know yourself. So these are four things every dentist should know. Number one, know yourself. Number two, know your patient. Know the patient that's in your chair. Number three, know your work. And then number four, apply your knowledge. So let's break down each one of those. And really, the context of this is that if you're going to achieve your full potential as a dentist, then these four concepts really apply. If you're going, and I would like to think that everybody in I Love Dentistry has their goal of achieving their full potential. I think we know our membership pretty well. Naren, wouldn't you say that among our I Love Dentistry members that the dentists are truly working toward achieving their full potential?
Absolutely. I think so, yes.
Yeah, that may not be true across the ADA average dentist, but I don't think the ADA average dentist is part of the I Love Dentistry group. These are exceptional. You're exceptional. So let's go down each one. Know yourself. Now, what does that mean, Naren? What does that mean to you?
I think know yourself to me is understanding who you are, what you like, what you're good at.
Maybe it's having some values.
Right.
Like, for example, Dr. Pankey, one of the values that he created was he was never going to extract another tooth that could be saved. Now, Naren, can I share with you where that value came from?
Yes, that'll be awesome.
So early on in his career, Dr. Pankey graduated from the Louisville School of Dentistry in Louisville, Kentucky. And upon the urging of one of his instructors, he went to a small town in eastern Kentucky called Newcastle, Kentucky. And the urging from his instructor was that there was a classmate of Dr. Pankey's 2 years ahead of him. so he was 2 years ahead at Kentucky, who had bought a practice in Newcastle, Kentucky. And for family reasons, he needed to relocate. He needed to move to upstate New York for family reasons. And so when Dr. Pankey was looking at what to do after graduation, one of his instructors said, "Hey, I've got a perfect practice for you. It's one of the doctors that was a couple of years ahead of you. He's in a small town in Eastern Kentucky. You should purchase his practice." And that's what he did. And early on, Dr. Pankey had much success doing what every other dentist was doing at that time, which was what, Niren?
I was pulling the teeth. Yeah.
Pulling teeth
extractions, right? Yeah.
And he would write home. He was single. He'd write home to his mother, and he explained that he was doing very well. In fact, he bought a new car in 1924. He bought a 1924 Buick, brand new, which, that was a big success, in terms of being able to do that. And his mother wrote back to him. Now, what had happened was between those letters, his mother was 44 at the time. And she did what I'm going to describe is going to be difficult for us to think about given what we know today. So you can't look at it through the eyes of someone in 2021. You have to understand this in the era of 1924. So we have to go back 100 years. She was having a couple of tooth issues, and they were probably cavities. And she went to the dentist, and she had all of her teeth extracted and a set of dentures made. Wow. Now, why was that? Because that's what she thought was going to happen anyway. That's what many people thought, well, it's going to happen anyway. I might as well do it while I have a little bit of time and maybe the savings to do it. I might as well get this taken care of. And she had all of her teeth extracted. Now, his mother reported that she lived, by the way, another 44 years. But she never had another comfortable day the rest of her life due to the effects of her having her teeth extracted, ill-fitting dentures, how that affected her facial structure, how it affected her ability to eat, how it affected her self-confidence, and everything else related to that. So she wrote back to her son and said, "I hope you're not doing to your patients what happened to me." And she described what happened. And Dr. Penke was heartbroken because he knew she didn't need to have her teeth extracted. There were a couple teeth that had some issues and they could have been taken care of with fillings. And at that moment, he made a decision that he would never extract another tooth in his life that could be saved. But it was the experience of his mother that caused him to create that value system. So know yourself, know your values, know what do you stand for? Maybe on a less principled manner, know what you like, know what you don't like. Maybe in your mind, you think to be successful, you've got to do every dental procedure out there. You've got to be a decathlete dentist that does everything. I disagree with that. You don't have to be a decathlete dentist unless you're passionate about that. You don't have to do that. Pick the things you like. So know yourself can happen on many levels. Know your values and know your principles and stand on those. Stand on. Secondly, choose what you like, because one of the keys to being a thriving practice is do what you like. One dentist likes endo, another dentist doesn't like it. So if you're the one that doesn't like it, let's find something else that you like to do. So know yourself. I would also say emotional intelligence is part of knowing yourself, Niren, because it's the ability to recognize your emotions and to actually contain those emotions and deal with them in a productive manner instead of a reactive manner. So that's another part of know yourself, know your emotions, have high level of emotional intelligence. So know yourself. Now let's talk about know your patient. Know your patient. And by the way, Niren, if you wouldn't mind putting this link in the comments, it's the episode that we published today from Thriving Dentist Show, the one published today.
Okay.
And in that episode, our dear friend, Dr. Paul Henney, gave a great tip about how to increase case acceptance in your practice. And one of his tips is that before you provide any recommendations to your patient, you really need to know them. You need to know where their values are, where their interests are, what's important to them, what their circumstances are, how they place oral health, in their value system. So Dr. Paul Henny was a guest with a guest top clinical tip, and this top clinical tip was about how to increase case acceptance. And he talks about knowing your patient. So it's really important, if you're going to achieve your full potential, that you know your patient. If you are making recommendations to a stranger, Dr. Paul emphasized this, Dr. Paul Henny, if you're making recommendations to a stranger, it's very possible that your recommendations may fall on deaf ears because you don't know what's driving their interest. So we need to get to know, and that can be, at an ever deepening level. At some point we want to really know our patients well, but even in the beginning, we can get to know them fairly well, fairly quickly. So know your patient, know your patient. Number 3, know your work. And the way I define that is master your craft of delivering high quality dentistry. Master your craft. Dr. Pankey talked about the mastery ladder. He called it the mastery ladder. Let me walk through the mastery ladder, Naren. And this is from a career of observing dentists. Let's start at the top of the ladder. Let's imagine a ladder where we're climbing the rungs of the ladder. Let's start at the top. And the very top level is that the dentist has truly become a master dentist. He or she can provide a full range of dental services, delivering the highest quality care. Only 2% of the dentists in the world will achieve mastery. The rung right below that is what Dr. Pankey called highly adept. These were very, very, very skilled dentists. Any of us would jump at the chance to sit in their chair and be treated by a dentist that's highly adept. Not quite at the mastery level, but very, very, very skilled. 8% of the dentists in the world will achieve the status of highly adept. Below that, Naren, was another category, and that was 36% fell in this category, and he called them students. Now, he didn't mean students in the sense of dental students. He meant students in the sense of dentists aspiring to become highly adept and perhaps master. So these were dentists that were actively working on their CE, had very specific goals relative to what they wanted to learn. And that was 36%. And Naren, there's one more rung at the bottom. And it's 54% of the dentists are indifferent. They don't care. They literally don't care. They're indifferent dentists. And we know that none of our members of I Love Dentistry fall into that category, Naren, because they wouldn't be in our community if they did. Right. So where do you fit and where do you aspire to? So know your work. And I hope that you take some multiple of CE beyond what's required. Hey, Naren, there's a popular term in business today that's kind of become a little bit of a cliche, and that is 10X.
Right.
I want to 10X it.
Yes.
And I think in some ways it's been trivialized. But how about applying it in a useful way? What if your goal is to each year take 10 times the number of CE hours that are required to keep your license in your state? 10 times. So if your state requires 32 hours every 2 years, that's a common number. It could be different in your state. Then if you break that down per year, it's 16 hours a year. Maybe your goal is to take 160 hours. And you'll get there a lot quicker by constantly working on your education. And with the goal of simply being better tomorrow than you are today. Now, number 4 might be the most important of those points of all. Apply your knowledge. Apply your knowledge. And how many of us, and I'll be the first to raise my hand, learn something and then don't apply it? So what if Dr. Pankey would have read his mother's letter and felt a sense of emotion and maybe sadness around it, but he continued to extract teeth that could be saved? Then he wouldn't apply what he learned from his mother's letter. Think about that. And think about how many lives were changed because of that. How many dentists, how many patients, the entire art and science of restorative dentistry. Think about that. So apply your knowledge. Apply your knowledge. Same thing with your patients. If we know about your patients, but we don't apply that in our relationship with them, we're not going to get the value of it. I've often said knowledge is great, Naren, but you don't get the benefit of it until you apply it. And that really is where the rubber meets the road, is applying what you know. And if we apply it back to the idea of taking 10 times the amount of CE, it's not just checking another course off our list, but did we apply what it is that we learned? So those are the 4 things Dr. Pankey said every dentist must know in order to achieve their full potential. Know yourself, know your patient, know your work, and apply your knowledge. They're simple, Naren, but profound. Almost in fact, they're both from the Midwest. So there's maybe in both of the same era. It kind of reminds me of some of the simple truths taught by Coach John Wooden. John Wooden. Hey, Naren, I'll put you to work if you don't mind.
Yeah.
We did an episode about how Coach Wooden can be your mentor. And we did this on Thriving Dentist Show. Let's put that link there as well. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago. It's relatively fresh. How Coach Wooden can be your mentor. Some simple truths. John Wooden was from Indiana. And actually, that's the state where Dr. L.D. Penke was born. He was born in a small town in rural Indiana. His father was a farmer. So there's another commonality between Coach Wooden and L.D. Penke, both born in Indiana. And Naren, I have one more episode to post in our comments, and that is we did an entire episode about Know Your Patient. And that would be a fun one to share with our I Love Dentistry audience as well.
Yes, I'm just posting the first one. So Dr. Wooden as your mentor.
Dr. Wooden as your mentor.
And what's the next one, Gary?
Know Your Patient.
Know Your Patient. Right. I know that episode. I'll post it.
Yeah, we did that one relatively recently.
Yeah, it's 504, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was correct. It's 504.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the, I think, wonderful foundational principles that you can apply throughout your entire career. Know yourself, know your patient, know your work, and apply your knowledge. And there is so much wisdom in those concepts. I'm very grateful. I'm eternally grateful from having met Dr. L.D. Pankey. He lit a fire under me in 1982, all about the behavioral side of dentistry and how important it was to help dentists really understand the people. When he said the behavioral side of dentistry, he means the people side of dentistry, and how mastering that world was as important as mastering your clinical skills. Because by mastering the behavioral side of dentistry, you're going to be able to help more people with your clinical skills.
Thank you so much, Gary. I think this is an excellent, I Love Dentistry office hour session, and appreciate it. So as we come to a close, do you want to summarize and leave any final thoughts?
Yeah. So I want to invite, talk about apply your knowledge. I want to invite anyone that watches this video, or is watching it now, or will watch it in the future. Go to those 3 Thriving Dentist Show podcast episodes and take a deeper dive into each and every one of those. Take a deeper dive into those, because I think you'll enjoy. First of all, it'll be entertaining, but I think you'll have lots of useful information that you can apply. And let me encourage you as here we are. This merry-go-round of life is spinning pretty fast right now. We're going to blink our eyes. It's going to be New Year. It's going to be January 1st. And I hope every one of our listeners and members of I Love Dentistry are making plans for 2022. And I hope one of your plans is to think about where you want to be on that mastery ladder. And I'm going to encourage you to reach for the stars and over your career, work on becoming a master dentist. That's less than 2% of dentists in the world. And what a wonderful accomplishment that would be for your patients to be taken care of by a master dentist, for your team to be led by a master dentist, and just the self-satisfaction you get from knowing you became, you achieved your full potential as a dentist. Maybe that's a good way to wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Gary. Thank you everyone for watching. And for those who are going to watch it in the future, have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.